Okay, well, I received a message and someone is asking about the extended universe of Star Wars. Okay. Basically, they were asking, um, like, why would Disney want to discard it and then use it again? And second of all, why is it that, like, my generation latches onto it? And could it be that my generation is the reason that they're bringing it back? We don't have that power. No, Disney doesn't listen to the fans like that. They listen to a point. Heavens no. They love the fans, but not in that sense. Here's the thing. Um and I could be wrong about that completely, like I usually am. So, the extended universe. One thing you have to understand about like the books and the video game, because it's not just the books. The extended universe went in like the books and the comics and everything, basically. And the great thing about it is like all the authors worked with each other so that the timeline was consistent. Not like with, like I've said before, with like Legend of Zelda, or it disconnects and it's very confusing and it goes all different directions and you're like, what is happening? No. With Star Wars, it flowed. And it was what you had, of course, some of these where it all of us are, like Splinter in the Mind's Eye was the first story to be released. It got famous because that's what the fans wanted. It's nostalgic. It it is bad, but again, it's nostalgic. Um, you read it, you get a good laugh. You have to understand that nobody really knew that Empire Strikes Back and all these other movies were going to be released. So when you read it, you got to think about that. Nobody knew that there was going to be a romance between Han and Leia. So a lot of times when you read those comics, you have like some comics were saying that there were going to be there was like a hint of a romance between Luke and Leia when they went off on an adventure, and then there was also the bit of a romance between Han and Leia. So it was just, but for the when the books started coming out, after Splinter in the Mind's Eye, it pretty much stayed consistent. The one to avoid, because it'll just make you go, what? Courtship of Princess Leia. Basically, the author, and I don't know if he wrote any more after that, but for Star Wars, basically what he did is he had his own personal opinion about something, and he decided to use the Star Wars characters to pump that out. He took the strong character of Princess Leia and turned her into a damsel in distress, and it was just like you're reading it and you're like, what is happening? No, what? And Luke and Han are completely changed into these two kids who don't know what they're doing. It's like the Marx Brothers are in it, and it's just like, don't read it. Just trust me, don't read it. It's like, oh, it'll make you angry. So, but for the most part, the rest of them fit. One of the best is, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. Um, so when you hear a lot of us talk about like, one of them I'm so glad they brought back was Grand Admiral Thrawn. He is just, for being an extended universe character, he was very well written. He's just one of those characters where it's like they needed another Tarkin, and they brought him back as Grand Admiral Thrawn. There are so many characters in the extended universe. You know, you've heard about Mara Jade. She's another amazing female character who is just, yeah, she's a wonderful female character. And I wish that she were brought back, but baby steps. um, you didn't really have very many of the characters that were weakly written, except for in that one. And of course, Splinter in the Mind's Eye was one of those where you're like, but for the time, it was exciting because of the fact that it was the first novel that wasn't centered around so much the book. You know, it wasn't the novelization of the script. So you have these characters. You have like Kit Katarn, you have Dash Rendar, who apparently they're going to bring back. I don't know if that's a rumor or what, but Dash Rendar comes up in the games. I think he's only in the games, if I remember right. And of course you have the Solo kids. They are seen more in the Jedi Knight books. And but they kind of brought back one of the kids through Kylo Ren, but it's kind of like you hear the name, and all of us that know the extended universe, it's like, oh. But you know, you have these characters that are like let me get a list. I didn't even get the list out. Kit Katarn, when Lucasarts was around, they were making the games like Monkey Island and the Star Wars games, and so there were the crossovers, and so Monkey Island made reference to Kit Katarn because of the fact that Guybrush Threepwood looks similar to Kit Katarn. So, just a little bit of thing there. So, let me see. Oops, too many T's. Let's see. Another character that, and you've seen me use the book dozens of times, is Darth Revan. He was a strong character. I liked him. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Good, good, good. So basically, you had the extended universe brought a lot of the Sith. Like you had these Darth characters. Like I don't remember Darth Bandon. Oh, maybe I do. Yes, now it's coming to me. So you had like him. And you were introduced to a lot more droids. And there was one. Oh, I forgot about Darth Bane. Yeah, I mean, there's like Darth Bane, Darth Xana, Darth Cognis. There are, and you have more Grand Moffs. Here's another one, Kip Duran. That was another one that I was trying to remember. And he's a Jedi Master that appears in the Jedi Academy trilogy. And I didn't read that one so much. And he was one of Luke's pupils. I used him because I wrote some fan fiction for a friend, and I used him in the fan fiction. So I did use that name. That's why I kind of remember it. But I used him, and I used Dash Rendar. And I used one other one, but I don't remember. I still have that. There's also a... Do they have him in here? Oh, they might not have, because I think he's in this... I didn't see him. No. I didn't see him. But in the comics, you see Cade Skywalker, and I don't remember if they took him. I don't know if he's still, and he's like the grandson of Luke Skywalker. And I liked him. Of all things, oh yeah, Jagged Fell was a pilot. And you know, the funny thing, yeah, the Fells. Fells were an interesting family. And there's Mara Jade. And Jackson. Oh, Jackson. Okay, so in the classic Marvel comic books from like the 70s and early 80s, there's like this green looking rabbit. And he's a smuggler, and he travels with Han Solo, and his name is Jackson. Jaxxon. And I guess they kind of brought him back, but you know, when you look through the comics, he doesn't really contribute to the story at all. He just kind of, every once in a while, he'll save Han from something and start a bar fight or something. And it's just like, why is he here? What was the point of this? And Tenel Ka, I remember Tenel Ka. And she was an interesting one because she was one that lost her arm. A lot of these other ones, it was like they didn't really make them lose limbs. It was like Anakin did and Luke did, but a lot of them but she did. Yeah, there's Kyle Katarn. Or was it Kyle? Maybe it was, I could have sworn it was Kit. Okay, I'm sorry, it's Kyle Katarn. Not the first time I've done that. And he is also in the games. What game? Because he's in books and games. Star Wars role-playing game, Star Wars Empire at War game. Yeah, so Star Wars Empire at War is a game, and he also appears in Star Wars role-playing game. I think he's in those card games as well. So it's Kyle Katarn, not Kit Katarn. I'm sorry about that. You also meet Obi-Wan Kenobi's brother, so he did have a brother. It's Owen Kenobi. And I'm kind of interested if they're using that in this new trilogy for, what's her name? Rey. Because me personally, I think she's a Kenobi. I'm very interested in that. So a lot of these characters, yeah, and you also meet more of Chewbacca's family. Oh, what was that one that I mentioned yesterday? So, of all things, oh, where was it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so in the Ewok Adventures, there's this character, and his name is Mace Tawani. He's the young man, and his character, for as much as he does in that movie, he kind of disappears. It's like, what does he do? One of the, I think it's like the original Return of the Jedi books, like the one that I have, because I have the special edition Return of the Jedi, I have the whole trilogy, and then I found the original that was released in 83. It mentions him. I'm wondering. Yeah, a lot of Darths. Oh, yeah, I forgot. And of course, everybody knows about Darth Plagueis. If you don't, I'm shocked. Yep, there he is. Dash Rendar. And Ravon. I mean, Ravon is. I've seen fantastic cosplay for Ravon. And he's in, let's see, last appearance, Star Wars, The Old Republic. Now, did he make it on the show? I'm wondering. Because, oh, whatever. I can't remember. Oh, there he is. Cade Skywalker. Luke Mara Jade. Yeah. Protagonist of the Star Wars Legacy comic series. Had the power to bring back the dead. Okay, let's see if they have. Oh, I forgot about Siritachi. Darth Talon. Oh, they don't have him in here. So anyway, and the ones that I'm naming aren't even the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's like a long list. Xanatos. Oh, that's right. In Jedi Apprentice. I had forgotten about him. Oh, there's a lot of these that I forgot. So anyway, there's a few of the characters that are in, aside from like Lando and Han and Luke um and then some of the books, because some of you asked about some of the books. Now my favorite is actually Truce at Bakura. That takes place like the day after Return of the Jedi. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Oh, of course it doesn't show. Oh wait, maybe it does. Or maybe it doesn't. Oh, it's Plagius. Or however he's... You know what I'm talking about. Please tell me you do. I never say anything right. Okay. Okay, but Jedi Apprentice... There's the Jedi Apprentice and there's the Jedi Academy books. Both I highly recommend. There is someone... I will look her up because I mentioned to her about something. I will look her up and I will put her... Because she's reviewing the old extended universe on Twitter, and I will link you to her Twitter account. And but yeah, there's Darth Bane books. Of course, I have like the Legend. I'm gonna be so pissed off at myself if I got rid of if I got rid of Truce at Bakura, but I can see myself doing that to myself. Let's see, let's go all the way down. There's also, yeah, there's Truce at Bakura. It was released in 1993. And from what I understand, you can still buy that. And a lot of times with some of these books, like somewhere around here, we have the Mos Eisley Cantina or Tales from the Cantina or something like that. And it goes deeper into the stories of each of those aliens. And that was interesting. I enjoyed that. You know, it kind of extended the story of Greedo before he got shot, and then it also extended the story of the bartender and why he hates droids so much. So it was very interesting. I guess they also did one for bounty hunters, and they did another one for something else, and I don't remember. So a lot of times these just extend the X-Wing series. That's what I was starting to talk about. So the X-Wing series, fantastic series. Oh, a lot of fun to read. And it's not just one of those that like fixates the crap out of the ships and everything and you just go all over this. No. And the great thing is that they actually have games for it now. My brother actually plays games and he goes and he does tournaments and all that, and he has fun with that. And the Corellian trilogy was one that I read. Good series. It's about Han Solo, and it kind of goes on this whole thing about him and his struggle with being a family man. Yeah, there's Young Jedi Knights and Junior Jedi Knights. That's right. Good series. Okay, so here's what I was talking about. There's Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina, Tales from the Bounty Hunters, Tales from Jabba's Palace, Tales from the Empire, Tales from the New Republic, and Star Wars Science Adventures. I don't know that that's... But anyway, there were others that I was... Splinter in the Mind's Eye, yeah. You can read it and have a good laugh out of it, or feel pain. There's some also, there's Han Solo Adventures that were released in 79 and 80. There's also Lando Adventures that were released in 1983, so after Return of the Jedi. I haven't had a chance to read either one. I've looked for them. So the Han Solo Adventures has like Han Solo at Star's End, Han Solo's Revenge, Han Solo and the Lost Legacy. Lando has Lando and the Mendharp of Sharu, Flamewind of Ocean. I'll put them in the... Yeah, I'll do that. There's like tons of Han Solo trilogies. There's like 5 or 6. I'm surprised at how many there are because... And there's Boba Fett series, but where is that one that I was trying to remember? Oh, I bet it's down here. Yeah, there's Truce of Bakura. No, I did not read that one. Okay, so these ones... No, that's not what I'm looking for. Never mind. The Crystal Star, is that the one I'm looking for? Crystal Star was good, but that's not what I'm looking for. Dark Saber was... Pretty much the title tells you everything. That'll give you feels. Dark Apprentice I wasn't impressed with. I didn't enjoy that one. Oh, where is that one? I know what I want. I'm not finding it. Well, anyway. Is this it? No, but New Rebellion is good. That's another one. There's a lot of them that were written that basically test their friendship after all of that's going on. You know, Han and Leia are married, and a few of them, they don't have kids yet. But it's testing their relationship as friends, and Luke and Leia are trying to understand their relationship as brother and sister, and Han is, you know, not understanding that. So it makes it frustrating. Ah, there it is. Okay, so yes, there is a Thrawn trilogy. I didn't realize it was a trilogy because I'm not paying attention to life like usual. So the Thrawn trilogy plus It's been so long since I've read the books. The Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command. Okay, The Last Command is probably the best in the series, in my opinion, but I would recommend every single one of them. So, anyway, now that that search is over, I will again put that I'll find her because, like I said, she is reading and reviewing, so I'll put that in for you. But yeah, these characters, I mean, like, for my generation, we grew up with them. So to be told, oh yeah, you have to forget them, it's like, no. Especially when you have someone like Dash and Kyle Katarn. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I thought it was Kit Katarn. But you know, when you played the games and you connected with these characters, you can't let go of that. You know, you sat outside the comic book store waiting for the next adventure with these characters. Yeah, you just can't let go. So for us, and understanding and knowing these characters and that was the thing about George Lucas, is when he made a character, it wasn't just, or even with the books, you know, he let these authors use these and make these characters, and then we saw them elsewhere. So like in the and some of these I saw that they had action figures too, so that made it, I believe Dash Rendar had one, and some of the, like, in the Thrawn trilogy, you could get the Micro Machine cars. You were able to get the oh, I know what I'm trying to say. The spaceships. So there was like this promotion where you bought the book. It was either you bought the book and then you could get the you mail in and you could get the Micro Machine little things. Um, and there was also that with Truce at Bakura and a couple of others. So yeah, so for all of this, yeah, all these promotions, you know, the toys, there were action figures. Um, it made it more personal for us and memorable. So to be told, you know, you have to discard all of it. You know, your generation is getting new characters, and that's fine. I mean, you've got Captain Phasma, Kylo Ren, Finn, Poe, and BB-8, and these characters, and Hux. But that doesn't mean, and that's great. That doesn't mean that my generation has to discard what we remember over the year. And even my parents. I mean, my dad remembers Splinter in the Mind's Eye, and he remembers some of the comics. He remembers that Jackson. He said that Jackson was so annoying. So anyway, yeah. Um so it is really neat that they are slowly bringing back these characters. Like that Thrawn is in I don't watch the Clone Wars very much or at all. I'm too busy. I am. I'm just too busy. It's not that I don't want to. And so anyway, maybe someday we'll see some of these. I guess, like I said, I guess that there was mention of bringing back Dash Rendar. Just maybe we'll see Mara Jade. We can hope. And but I would highly recommend looking through these characters and seeing what we grew up with and the people that we saw. I mean, some of you have already latched onto it, and that's fantastic. So, but anyway, yeah, it's hard to let go when you were connected so strongly to these characters.